Viewers, this is a special broadcast on Times Now. Thanks for joining us. With me, Swati Joshi. Tom Cooper, that's the name. The man is an authority on defense and strategic affairs. When Tom Cooper speaks, the world listens because his pronouncements are based on research and objective research at that. Over the decades, Operation Sindoor, viewers, was a resounding success. India pounded the terror infrastructure in Pakistan and also left Pakistan with a bloody nose, as the military infra and air power was also left severely crippled by our valiant and alert defense forces. India completely decimated Pakistan with its air power and forced a rattle Pakistan to plead for a ceasefire.
Well, it is important to stress on India's air power because it was India's aerial prowess that ensured Pakistan was not in a position to retaliate. Pakistan tried to fight back after India pounded the terror infrastructure deep inside Terroristan. But a paralyzed Pakistan's Air Force just didn't have the firepower to hit back after India struck their air bases. No wonder then that when the Prime Minister chose to celebrate the success of Operation Sindoor, he chose to first celebrate it with the Indian Air Force at the Adampur Air Force Station.
आपकी स्पीड और प्रिसीजन इस लेवल की थी कि दुश्मन हक्का बक्का रह गया। उसको पता ही नहीं चला कि कब उसका सीना छलनी हो गया। अपने यात्री विमानों को सामने करके जो साजिश की रची, मैं कल्पना कर सकता हूं वो पल कितना कठिन होगा जब सिविलियन एयरक्राफ्ट दिख रहा है। और मुझे गर्व है आपने बहुत सावधानी से, बहुत सतर्कता से सिविलियन एयरक्राफ्ट को नुकसान किए बिना कमाल करके दिखाया, उसका जवाब दे दिया आप।
Viewers, remember the name Tom Cooper, and who better to decode the success of Operation Sindoor than one of world's foremost war historians, Mr. Cooper, a military and combat aviation expert who has closely covered multiple wars over the last 2 decades and has published over 500 books in collaboration with other experts. Tom Cooper has spoken exclusively to our group editor-in-chief, Navika Kumar, and that full exclusive interview plays out at 9 p.m. on the News Hour. But as we build up to that big interview, let's give you a glimpse of what to expect. How really did India completely overpower Pakistan? As Tom Cooper decodes India's strategy, he tells Navika Kumar how India's strategy to disable the enemy by targeting Pakistan's air defenses enabled India to not only target the terror bases, but also give India a complete advantage in the air.
We also have hit 13 Pakistani military targets, including air bases. How much do you think these air bases have been damaged? And do you think this is what brought Pakistan? The combination of the entrance of the nuclear site, the combination with that of the air bases being destroyed, is this what made Pakistan actually bow down and seek American intervention?
The fact is this: in order to hit a military base, whatever kind, you have to disable the enemy, in this case, Pakistan air defenses. Not only ground-based air defenses, but also the capability of the country in question to defend itself from airstrikes. So this means before hitting these military facilities, India has disabled Pakistani air defenses, ground-based air defenses, and then forced the Pakistani Air Force back away from the border in order to be able to send its own aircraft to the border, launch missiles at the Pakistani military bases. So that means that by the time what you have asked, a lot has happened already. And that means that India has already achieved an advantage in the air correspondingly, the fact, it doesn't matter how many bases have been hit, whether it's 11, 13, or something else. This fact alone means that Pakistan has already lost the air battle.
So you heard Tom Cooper, who's a prominent and credible voice when it comes to combat aviation. And this was just a glimpse of the entire interview that you can watch at 9 p.m. And Tom Cooper, Pranesh, has called this a clear, decisive victory of India.
Which is why, this interview becomes unmissable. This plays out on top of the news hour at 9 p.m. You don't want to miss this. But people who don't know about Tom Cooper is an Australian military analyst known for his work on aviation history. And he's someone who's covered Middle East and Africa in great detail. He's an Austrian military analyst, Swati, and we have our guest now joining us. Colonel Amit Menon is with us, Squadron Leader Verlin Panwar, and Achal Malhotra, former diplomat, also joins the broadcast. Swati.
Absolutely. I want to take this up with Colonel Amit Menon, because in this one glimpse that we just played out, and perhaps what we think is that it's just one strike that has happened, but we were able to breach 3 layers. That was in detail explained by Tom Cooper. First, you have to disable the air defense of Pakistan, their ground defense. And in this case, we were also able to make the Pakistani forces go back away from their borders. And that was explained in detail. It's not just an operation, it's India's might. That is what Tom Cooper is talking about. Can you unmute yourself, sir?
Swati, thank you very much for having me on your show. What you have said is actually known to military analysts for a little while now. There is something called SEAD and DAD, which means suppression of enemy air defense and destruction of enemy air defense. This is a capability which is the kind of precursor to any kind of air superiority that you would want to achieve. So this is something which India has worked on diligently for the last about almost, you can say, 8 to 10 years of procurement. And the military has also worked on it so well that today, if you ask any expert, he will say that India has got a very, very potent SEAD and DAD capability, while that is not there with the adversary. So that was the first step which has been taken by India. And you would have seen on the first night of attack when we had taken out the Lahore radar, that was part of this. And the air defense was mostly disabled, where we were able to drop our bombs and our missiles. Secondly, and more importantly, SEAD and DAD work for allowing our assets like helicopters and fighters to go in. In this case, we are given to understand that the international boundary was not breached. They were all standoff weapons and beyond visual range weapons which took part in this battle. That is one more capability which India has worked on diligently for the last 10-15 years and has acquired it so well that we were able to beat the enemy at their own game and also cause maximum destruction.
Absolutely. Let me also bring in Squadron Leader Verlin Panwar. Verlin Panwar, like Colonel Menon was pointing out, yes, the military experts definitely know about this. But look at the Pakistani propaganda. They're talking to foreign news channels. They're taking journalists to the side just to show that everything is absolutely normal, while our Prime Minister actually went to one of the airbase, and in the background, the S-400 and the MiG can very clearly be seen. That was one of Pakistan's lies and propaganda, that they were able to inflict damage on the Indian side. We have clear proof of nothing of that sort happening. Why Tom Cooper's version of what has transpired, or the fact that this is a decisive or clear victory for India, is more important is he's a prominent voice. He understands combat aviation.
Absolutely, Swati. And other than this, West, as per my understanding, whatever we have seen in last 1 week, West has tried to distort this war into something else. West has tried to put other things into everyone's mind, that two countries are fighting for nothing, India is overreacting, they should have done peace talk before. There are a lot of things going on. But if it is coming from someone like Tom Cooper, who is already a renowned military historian, who has clearly said that it is a clear-cut victory for India. Not only this, he has also pointed it out that India disabled air defense of Pakistan, which is a big statement in itself, because it is not coming from anyone from Pakistan or India. It is coming from a third person's point of view and also from a credible source. And coming on to, you also spoke about how Prime Minister Modi has gone to Adampur Air Force Station and how he has shown and proved everyone that how the information warfare, or I would like to use word psychological warfare that Pakistan is using against everyone, not only India, but for everyone globally, that, they have destroyed Adampur Air Force Station, they have destroyed S-400 and fighters operating from there. When we saw the pictures, I believe it was clearly and intentionally shown S-400 in the background and also all the military assets in the background. It is intact. And one more point to be noted here is that Prime Minister Modi landed in Charlie 130. That means runway is intact. It is operational. It has operational readiness and can be used for any other operation if required in future.
Mr. Malhotra, I want to bring you in. What do you make of the messaging that we've done over the last few days around Operation Sindoor?
I think our message has been very loud and clear, and multifold, multi-pronged, multidimensional message, and to multiple audiences. Of course, one, we have made it very, very clear that we have the capability to strike at the terrorists wherever they may go and hide. We will locate them, identify them, and hit them. Our second message is that these terrorists who have been counting on the Pakistan military and army must now know how fragile are their patrons and sponsors. We have established our military superiority, particularly the air power, through this Operation Sindoor, and the message has gone through. We have achieved the objective first of hitting at those 9 terror camps and causing a huge damage in terms of the number of terrorists we have been able to eliminate and also to their infrastructure. And what followed, everybody has seen, we have really decimated Pakistan's myth. If they were living in a fool's paradise, that they will be able to do a nuclear blackmail and, they will be able to use the Chinese equipment and the Turkish drones and bring about a lot of damage to our infrastructure. That has also been broken. And another message that we have given clearly is that this is only a suspension of the operation. And Operation Sindoor is not just an Operation Sindoor, it is a doctrine. And our Prime Minister has very elaborately, three dimensions of this doctrine. He spoke about it yesterday. He spoke about it again today at Adampur. So also, to counter what was claimed by the U.S. Secretary of State that we are going to meet and talk at a neutral venue.
Right.
We have also, demolished that kind of false propaganda by saying talks and terror can't go together. Trade and terror can't go together. Water and blood can't flow together. Which means we have absolutely no intention to talk to Pakistan.
And that perhaps explains why, experts like Tom Cooper are saying that this is a clear-cut victory for India. Let's once again play part of that excerpt. The full interview, remember, plays out on the news hour at 9 p.m. with Navika Kumar.
We also have hit 13 Pakistani military targets, including air bases. How much do you think these air bases have been damaged? And do you think this is what brought Pakistan? The combination of the entrance of the nuclear site, the combination with that of the air bases being destroyed, is this what made Pakistan actually bow down and seek American intervention?
The fact is this: in order to hit military base, whatever kind, you have to disable the enemy, in this case Pakistan, air defenses. Not only ground-based air defenses, but also the capability of the country in question to defend itself from airstrikes. So this means before hitting these military facilities, India has disabled Pakistani air defenses, ground-based air defenses, and then forced the Pakistani Air Force back away from the border in order to be able to send its own aircraft to the border, launch missiles at the Pakistani military bases. So that means that by the time what you have asked, a lot has happened already. And that means that India has already achieved an advantage in the air. Correspondingly, the fact, it doesn't matter how many bases have been hit, whether it's 11, 13, or something else. This fact alone means that Pakistan has already lost the air battle.
Well, that last thing that Tom Cooper said, answering that question, one thing is very clear, Pakistan by that time had already lost the air battle. And Colonel Menon, you know, thanks to the joint briefings of our forces that we were updated about what's transpiring on ground. And we don't need any validation coming in from West. And what is Tom Cooper going to gain out of this? But since he's a prominent voice when it comes to combat aviation, the world needs to hear what he has to say, especially at this time when Pakistan is, you know, its propaganda machinery is working 24/7. There are victory processions being carried out there.
Well, Pakistan has been historically a master of guile. They convey something else. They claim they won 1965 war. There are some publications even who claim that 1971 was already won on the Western Front, but it was they capitulated on the Eastern Front. So it's farcical what they say. The best part about what has happened is, I mean, I would just recount the first briefing was done by the Pakistani DGISPR, and after that briefing, there was a little bit of cloud in people's minds. But when our DGMOs came out and gave that briefing on the first day with all the photographic evidence and everything in place, it was everybody's mouth shut. So frankly, as you said, yes, Tom Cooper is only, you know, bolstering our achievements, which we have already we have made them, and we have also shown it to the entire world. And the way the briefings have been conducted, they've been so professional. The way things have been spoken, the way what was not supposed to be spoken has not been given out. Each and every word, each and every sentence by all the three military operations director generals from Navy, Army and Air Force has been absolutely amazing. And after that, when you see the DGISPR briefing, which even got delayed by almost 2 to 3 hours, if you see that they had nothing, they were just faffing. They had not a single photograph to show. They show their submarines deployed, a file photo.
Colonel Menon, you're right about the ISPR briefing, and the body language, I think, gave it away. It's available for people who've not seen it. Just look at the three men who are, seated there, 3 or 4, I'm not sure, but all of them look clueless. It's as if, someone has forced them that, look, you have to address the media there, go sit together and present a brave face. That's all that they've done. Because when questions were asked on what you did, the claims that you're making about inflicting damage in India, they said, look, all this is based on social media. Social media, squadron leader, Berlin, social media is what Pakistanis are relying on. It's all bunkum.
That's what, when you look the way, I mean, we have heard what the defense minister has been saying all this while, right? I can still give it away to him that he's a political leader. But what about military personnel? Military personnel can never be talking things without any proof, without any credible sources. Like you look at the type of briefings we have done. Every claim that we have made, we have supported it with some kind of fact. But you go towards the other side, they are just false claims, one after the another, whether it is shooting down our aircraft, capturing our pilot, shooting down the forward bases, killing innocent people. Everything is baseless. I have not seen any of the claim being supported by some credible source, image, or some recording.
Absolutely. Mr. Malhotra, now one other thing that Tom Cooper is doing is also holding a mirror to all those who, after the Pahalgam attack, call these terrorists militants and bought Pakistan's narrative and propaganda that the Pakistani side, as if, in their dreams, was able to inflict damage on the Indian side. What are we doing? A very simple thing. Our Prime Minister goes to one of the air bases there And what India has been maintaining is that all our men are safe back home here and our air bases operational. If the Pakistanis want, they can go to one of their air bases and show us how operational it is.
Yes, of course. We essentially we don't have to bother what West thinks about it. What is important is we got in the very initial stage, everybody stood by us and said, we are with you as far as the terrorism is concerned. And later on, obviously, it's quite obvious in the international diplomacy that try to start preaching in the sense, let's try to diffuse the situation by means of dialogue, diplomacy. This is a standard, this is a standard practice to do it. But you see, the fact of the matter is, world is changing. We have to look at the things from our own perspective. How long can we go on tolerating this? And what is the point in talking with the people who are completely, unreliable? We have talked with them so many times, and we know for sure who wants to talk and who doesn't want to talk. And it's quite clear that every time, even if the civilian government in Pakistan was willing to talk, and we came close to some, decisions, the military establishment, the deep state, created a situation that everything went down the drain. So the Western opinion mattered only to a certain extent, and it was positive and in our favor. And I can assure you, nobody would. I'm a bit surprised by Donald Trump's, utterances. First, he tried to, take the credit for as if he
I
was
am
the one
surprised
who
that you're
did it.
surprised by what Donald Trump has been saying or doing. Don't be surprised, sir. Nothing is beyond him. I mean, just imagine someone who can dress up as Pope or, have that photo posted from his official handle. That man is, capable of pretty much everything.
No, 1 minute. What I meant when I say I was surprised, not by the fact that he tried to take the credit. He's equating Pakistan with India. We are the victims and they are the aggressors. And he says, I know both of them. They are very good friends. I'll be doing trade with both of them. All those kind of things is something we have to think about.
Yeah, for that, let's hold the advisors of Mr. Trump, responsible. They failed to brief him properly about India, Pakistan, and the history that the two nations have shared. Because, Trump doesn't seem to know anything beyond Trump Towers. But having said that, I just want to underline the exclusive interview that's coming up at 9 p.m. It's the global exclusive on Times Now, Swati. Tom Cooper in conversation with Navika Kumar. And viewers, you should not just listen to Tom Cooper for his scholarly rigor. You should also listen to him because he takes down the ecosystem propaganda bit by bit. He shreds it. Here's a sneak peek of what's lined up.
We also have hit 13 Pakistani military targets, including air bases. How much do you think these air bases have been damaged? And do you think this is what brought Pakistan? The combination of the entrance of the nuclear site, the combination with that of the air bases being destroyed, is this what made Pakistan actually bow down and seek American intervention?
The fact is this: in order to hit a military base, whatever kind, you have to disable the enemy, in this case, Pakistan, air defenses. Not only ground-based air defenses, but also the capability of the country in question to defend itself from airstrikes. So this means before hitting these military facilities, India has disabled Pakistani air defenses, ground-based air defenses, and then forced the Pakistani Air Force back away from the border in order to be able to send its own aircraft to the border, launch missiles at the Pakistani military bases. So that means that by the time what you have asked, a lot has happened already. And that means that India has already achieved an advantage in the air. Correspondingly, the fact it doesn't matter how many bases have been hit, whether it's 11, 13, or something else. This fact alone means that Pakistan has already lost the air battle.
In the aftermath of the ceasefire that Pakistan begged to after reeling from Operation Sindoor, there is one question on everyone's mind. Did India strike and spook Pakistan into a full-blown nuclear panic? At the epicenter of this meltdown, military, strategic and political, is Kirana Hills. It lies in Pakistan's Sargodha district, hidden in plain sight, a heavily fortified zone under Pakistan's Ministry of Defense, also referred to as the Black Mountains. Not far from the Kushab nuclear complex and the Sargodha air base, this ridge of stone is believed to house over 10 underground tunnels. Tunnels that by most accounts store parts of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal. The internet's now ablaze with speculation. Did India hit Pakistan a bit too close from comfort? Sources claim that India's precision strikes on the 10th of May rattled Pakistan's defenses. One of the targets, Mushab Air Base, right next to Kirana Hills. When asked, DGAO Air Marshal A.K. Bharti denied with a deadpan delivery. But did his smirk give it away? Listen in.
Thank you for telling us that Kirana Hill houses some nuclear installation. We did not know about it. Okay. And we've not hit Kirana Hills, whatever is there. Okay. I did not brief in my briefing yesterday. Thank you.
So what is fueling speculation is the mystery of the ghost plane. Tail number N111SZ, a US Department of Energy aircraft designed to track radiation spotted in Pakistan skies. And then it vanished. No answers, no denials, no explanations. An Egyptian jet, EGY-1916, flying in from China, reportedly carrying boron, a chemical used to contain nuclear radiation. What was Pakistan trying to suppress? Why was boron flown in? And why are all the governments silent? As Pakistan is squirming in silence, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has doubled down, insisting that Pakistan will no longer tolerate nuclear blackmail. That India is not going to tolerate any of such statements coming in from Pakistan. Any nuclear blackmail that Pakistan will resort to is not going to be taken by India. His fiery words to the nation on Monday, echoed again from Adampur Air Force Base today. Listen in.
कोई भी न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल भारत नहीं सहेगा। न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की आड़ में पनप रहे आतंकी ठिकानों पर भारत सटीक और निर्णायक प्रहार करेगा। जब हमारी फौजें न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की धमकी की हवा निकाल देती हैं, तो आकाश से पाताल तक एक ही बात गूंजती है, भारत माता की जय।
And as we speak about Pakistan and their nuclear fakery, let's remind you what war historian Tom Cooper told Group Editor-in-Chief Navika Kumar on how India crippled Pakistan's air power to such an extent that Pakistan was forced to plead for a ceasefire very soon.
We also have hit 13 Pakistani military targets, including air bases. How much do you think these air bases have been damaged? And do you think this is what brought Pakistan? The combination of the entrance of the nuclear site, the combination with that of the air bases being destroyed, is this what made Pakistan actually bow down and seek American intervention?
The fact is this: in order to hit a military base, whatever kind, you have to disable the enemy, in this case, Pakistan, air defenses. Not only ground-based air defenses, but also the capability of the country in question to defend itself from airstrikes. So this means before hitting these military facilities, India has disabled Pakistani air defenses, ground-based air defenses, and then forced the Pakistani Air Force back away from the border in order to be able to send its own aircraft to the border, launch missiles at the Pakistani military bases. So that means that by the time what you have asked, a lot has happened already. And that means that India has already achieved an advantage in the air. Correspondingly, the fact, it doesn't matter how many bases have been hit, whether it's 11, 13, or something else. This fact alone means that Pakistan has already lost the air battle.
All right, let me in fact go across to the experts who are with us on the broadcast. We have Major General Vikas Sharma, defense expert. We have Professor Madhav Nalapa, geopolitical analyst on the broadcast as well. What Tom Cooper today is saying is not just about the decisive victory of India, Professor Nalapa. It's also about how Pakistan was crippled when their air defense and their ground defense was breached by India. And it also tells a story that one will, understand when you read between the lines of what really forced Pakistan to beg with the US. What really made Pakistan bow down to the pressure?
Swati, please understand, modern warfare is warfare with missiles and with large numbers of drones and with computer banks. The warriors are basically people with spectacles, not particularly strong physically, peering into those computers and steering those drones over significant targets. It's very clear that a very significant target was hit in Pakistan. Of course, the Indian Air Force has denied it, but the reality is, of course, you remember the old adage, never believe a report about any war until it is officially denied. So let's go by that old adage, that never believe a report until it's officially denied. These American aircraft, these Chinese chemicals, they would not be coming for nothing. They would not be coming without any purpose. I can quite understand that India has said very clearly, we have not hit the airbase. I think it's very important to stress that point, that I'm sure India was not aware of what kind of an airbase it was. But the reality of the situation is the fact that the Americans and the Chinese were the two superpowers on the planet, with India hopefully coming up in a few years. Well, the fact that they had to rush emergency equipment both to locate the radiation and to locate source of radiation and to basically use chemicals to lessen that radiation indicates that something significant happens. So I would like to say there's no question that something very significant happened, and it most likely concerns the Pakistan so-called nuclear arsenal, which some of us have long been saying are basically nuclear devices and not nuclear weapons, unlike India, who's got a nuclear weapon, nuclear weapons. In fact, a triad of nuclear weapons, air, land, and sea. So I think, very frankly, that these aircraft are not going to come for nothing. They are very, very complex aircraft, and the chemicals are extremely complex, very difficult to maneuver. So there would have been technicians from China to maneuver those chemicals into the locations that the Americans have fixed as the locations where this particular hit took place.
Right. I want to bring in Major General Vikas Sharma as well. DGA of the Indian Air Force saying, thank you for telling us that Kirana Hills has nuclear installations. We didn't know about it. I mean, make what you want to of it. But then people were also going back to what Trump said yesterday and connecting the dots. What are your views?
Very good evening to you, Swati. Like you said, the smirk on his face said it all. Well, maybe I'll be very particular in this case because I'll go by the official statement as to what has been made by the Indian Air Force and the Indian Defence Forces. The intent would not have been to hit any nuclear installation as such, because if that was the intent, let me assure you, they wouldn't have missed it. You've seen the precision, what they have done, whatever has been done. So the intent was not there. The possibility of what the professor is saying of the knowledge of that, but those things not being over there, yes, I grant it that the same is quite possible. And yes, it sends out a loud and clear message. His smirk says It's up to you to guess. Let everybody keep guessing
Absolutely.
whether it was on intent.
Let everybody keep guessing. Major General Vikas Sharma and Professor Nalapa, thank you very much for joining us.